How's it going, Lost Ark? Sethphir here, and today we are going to be talking about Una tasks. They're going to be the daily and weeklies in Lost Ark, and this is going to be a guide covering what you should kind of aim for at the various stages that you'll be at, whether that be Tier 1, Tier 2, or Tier 3. Una's tasks are going to unlock when you hit level 50, I believe, so you'll be getting access to those even in the Tier 1. And I know once I reached Tier 3, looking back, I made a lot of mistakes on the dailies and weeklies. I've done a lot that I probably shouldn't have. I've done some of the easy ones just to get it over with. And I definitely could have sped up my progress because now that I have more experience in the game, I learned a lot of things that I did. I made a lot of mistakes, and I could have accelerated my progression path a lot faster if I would have just noticed a few things sooner or had somebody else tell me those, and that's what I'm here to do today, is to share that knowledge with you. So the Una tasks are going to be opened by pressing Alt-J, and it's going to be broken down into 4 categories. There's a daily, a weekly, a reputation status, and finally a guild request. So we'll talk about the reputation status first because it kind of ties into a lot of other things. So reputation status is basically when you do an Una task associated with an island or a specific place, you can sometimes level up your reputation. So by doing that same task, that same daily, or that same whatever it is, over and over, you're going to get rewards and reach like reputation levels with the island. And some of those things are just little piddly things like silver and a revive feather, but sometimes it can be things like a masterpiece, which is a collectible item that you'll need later on. And it can also be different things like a pattern or a design for a blueprint for a new ship that you can use to sail amongst the continents. So there's a lot of good reputation rewards locked behind these, as well as island tokens. So that's something to keep in mind. When you mouse over them on the right side, it'll generally show you where they're at, what the quest is, and what island it's for, and what you need to get there. So that's just something to keep in mind because it will change your thought process once you get past the initial, okay, I only want honing materials, which is pretty much what everyone wants right now, honing materials so you can get to the next tier. Whether that's Tier 1, Tier 2, or you want to progress your item level in Tier 3, you're going to need all of these. So now we'll go ahead and talk a little bit briefly about guild quests. It's pretty simple. If you are in a guild, it's going to be a quest that your guild leader decides. That can be a trade skill, it can be a sailing skill, it can be a boss mechanic skill quest, and each one is going to be different per guild, so yours is not going to be the same as mine. But it's going to be something that you can take to earn bloodstones for the first time you complete it, and after that you're just going to get reputation with your guild, which is going to push you up to the threshold of whatever your guild has set to distribute bloodstones amongst the guild. So that's going to be a very simple extra thing that you can do there if you are part of a guild, you're looking to progress a guild. You can take this sort of weekly quest and get bloodstones off of it. Higher level guilds can take multiple quests, so you can get more bloodstones for each initial new quest, so that's going to be something good to keep in mind. And then finally, we'll go into the big bread and butter here, which is going to be the daily and weekly quests. So there are a few important things to note. Not all daily quests are created equal. I was doing whatever seemed easy to me, whatever was near me, or whatever I was on the island for. But when you play the game for a while, you start to realize that you run out of certain materials a lot faster than others. And the thing that you're always going to run out of is called a leap stone. Whether you're on Tier 3 or Tier 2 or Tier 1, you are going to run out of leap stones. So they should be your prime target here. Whenever you accept a daily quest, you are going to be aiming for a leap stone. If you, for some reason, have a strong abundance of leap stones, I don't know how you pulled that off, but if you've done all the quests and for some reason you're not failing any of your upgrades and you're soaring past leap stones, then you can start to look at other materials, maybe even these little upgrade things, like this is essentially a star breath or a moon breath. It's an item that would increase your chance of getting an upgrade by a certain percent when you apply it to the item. That's a good go-to. Other than that, there are several other quests that are for like shards, honor shards, or harmony shards, whatever you want to call them, in your tier. The little crystal currency, there's a green kind, a blue kind at Tier 2, and then finally an orange kind at Tier 3. They are okay, but not the best to aim for, and there are some stone rewards, right? Like the little ability stones, the carving stones. I think you can get those in a lot of other ways, so they're generally not worth. And then there's various silver rewards for some of these, and then also providence stones. So that's going to be the few categories. So for your main character, right, your main character that you're going to be focusing on, you always want to focus on leap stones. And these types of dailies are going to unlock depending on what islands you have visited. So if you visit Peto, for example, you unlock a daily that gives you 4 leap stones, or however many leap stones in your tier, and that's generally a really good one to do. But the best ones that I have found have been Calthurt's, which was the Trader Isle. That one has 5 or a lot of leap stones in your category, as well as Alakir. Alakir is a timed daily island. This one seemed to give quite a lot. And then Hypnos Eyes, which is a pirate island, sort of near Punica, actually. But this one is a very strong one as well. It gives a large amount of leap stones. There may be other ones out there that also provide a massive amount of leap stones, but the point is whatever you have that gives leap stones, go for that, because that's most likely what's going to be holding your character back in terms of progression for that tier. Now, the only exception to that is if you do not plan to progress that character. Like if it's an alternate character that you want to keep in tier 1 or tier 2, then you could start looking at doing quests for things like Providence Stones, because those are currency that are obtainable through all characters. You cannot do these honor shard quests because they're locked on the character. They're not shareable throughout each character on the roster. They're limited to that specific character. But silver and Providence Stones are 2 things that you could consider doing on alternate characters that you don't intend to play, because silver becomes something that you will need a good amount of in the late game. So that's always nice to stock up on. And the Providence Stones are useful for buying rapport items, which you will also need when you go for zone completions to get the skill point potions later on in the game. So these are all decently important things. So in summary, the big takeaway, if you're doing a daily Una quest, right, you're going to want to aim, if you're a main character, aim for leap stones. Leap stones are the most important. If you are not a main character and you're just an alternate side character, you're going to aim for Providence Stones and silver, depending on what you want. So you're going to accumulate those things. Whenever you do a daily quest, you will also get 2 points towards this meter on the left side, which we will talk about right after we run up weeklies here. But you're going to get a small amount of points, which you can do a certain amount of these every day per character, but it's shared across your entire roster. So we'll go into that in detail here in a moment. But first, we'll get to weeklies. And now we move on to weeklies. This is going to be the same mindset. You're going to do weeklies that give you leap stones for main characters. Main progress characters always want to aim for leap stones. That's going to be the most important. You definitely want to go there because they are the hardest to obtain. Once you have these leap stones, the best dailies are going to be the 2 PvP dailies, and if you can get lucky enough to get a boss rush ticket, this is also a very strong source of leap stones. You will get quite a lot of these. Boss rush tickets are very rare. They come from the Chaos Dungeon, random RNG chance, and only when you have Awakening or your daily entrance pass, right? Like you get 2 per day, you get to go in twice and get full materials. On those 2 attempts, you can possibly get a boss rush ticket. You can also get a boss rush ticket from the Bloodstone vendor for the guild currency that you kind of generate. You can go and check them out, and if your guild is high enough, you can buy a chest for the week appropriate to your content level, whether that's tier 1 or tier 2 or tier 3. And the higher level the guild, the more chests you can get, and they have an RNG chance of giving you a boss rush ticket or silver or some other things, maybe even a cube ticket. So just keep that in mind. That's going to be the ways to obtain those. If you don't have a boss rush ticket, your best luck is going to be doing both of the PvP quests, which just require you to play 5 matches each, and you don't have to win, so that's a good thing. You could just dive in there, pay your dues, get your butt kicked, whatever you want to do, and then come out with some nice leap stones for progression on that character. And then there is a small leap stone bonus for the Guardian raids. If you collect 6 souls, you can get a little bit amount of leap stones, which may be something you have to do if you do not get a boss rush ticket in that week, which is possible. I went many weeks without getting a boss rush ticket. So keep that in mind. That's going to be your best to aim for a main character for your weeklies. If you are a side character on your weeklies, the only thing you can really get is pretty much silver here. So you're just going to be looking for something like a Chaos Dungeon clear, which is easy to get on a side character because you're probably running the Chaos Dungeon for money for your main character. You sell the old materials or use them to power them up and level up another character into another tier. And then also the cube tends to give a lot of silver, but it's something that's, again, RNG. You can get it from those boxes. You can get it from the Chaos Dungeon, but it's just complete random whether or not you do get that or not. So you may have to adjust based on what you receive there. And finally, you could get a little bit of silver from the trade skill quest. It is decent. It's not the best, but it's something if you really don't have any options, and it takes quite a while to do so. If you are going to use your life energy, which is roster bound and not character bound, this could be something you could do on an alt just to generate some silver and get something done real quick. Okay, so now we'll finally go into the next part over here, which is going to be this weekly roster mission on the left side, as you can see on my screen. And finally, we will top all of this off with where to spend this currency that you're getting on the left side of the screen and what you should be doing with it, because it will give you gold, which is very important. So on the left side here, you can see that it says obtainable 9 a day. So what this means is you can do 9 daily quests on all of your characters per day. So you can get a potential of 18 points, and you need to hit a certain amount of points within a week to claim these Una tokens. They're basically something that you trade in for gold from a gold vendor, which I'll show you here in a second. But you will get 2 points per daily done, and you will also get 12 points per weekly done, and this counts across your entire roster. So this bar on the left is filled up by your whole roster. So if your alt does 3 weeklies, then you're going to get 36 points, and your main does 3 weeklies, that's another 36 points. So boom, you're going to fill up that bar instantly. So it's really not something hard to obtain. It's something very easy to get. So this bar will fill up very fast. Just make sure you have done some weeklies and maybe dailies on some characters. But as you can see, there's tier thresholds. So it starts off with a little bit of Una tokens, and this is going to go up. Looks like dependent on either the week or the item level. I'm not exactly sure yet, but mine has just kept increasing over time. But I will get a significant amount. So you're going to get each of these Una tokens when you pass this tier. So just make sure to collect all at the end. There's a claim all button down here. As long as you do it before the weekly reset on Thursday, you should obtain those. Once you have the Una tokens, you can go to the gold shop vendor, which would be on any main city. So here, this is Punica, this is the tier 3. I'll just mouse over on the map. It'll say gold shop. Each character's name will be different, but it's going to look like this little gray circle treasure chest icon. There's a few of them for different things, but just make sure you find the one that says gold shop. So it's going to be different no matter where you go. You're going to go ahead and talk to them, and there are 2 things you can do with the Una tokens, or a few things here. The first one is you can trade in for a small sack of gold, which gives a little bit of gold and a chance to get a thick gold bar and a thin gold bar. I think they give a decent amount of gold each. I think it's like 1,000 or 100. And then there is a small safe, which gives a little bit more and better odds on these bars. And then finally, there is a large gold chest, which has a chance to give you this giant gold bar, which is supposed to give you 10,000 gold or something of that nature. So I rolled one last week. I got a 500 large gold chest. I didn't get anything besides gold. I ended up getting about 1,000 gold from it, just pure currency. So that was pretty good. Hopefully RNG will be in my favor this week. I think I'll be able to get 1, maybe 2 of these, and maybe I'll get lucky and get this legendary gold bar. Who knows? But that's something that you can do with these tokens, so that's where a lot of these people are getting these mass amounts of golds from. It's from doing their weeklies and progressing up through the game. And then finally, there's a small section on the side over here. It's just a little mention that you could trade in gold for silver, so I would really not recommend this. There's tons of better ways to get silver, so just pretend this tab doesn't exist and don't fall into that trap, definitely. Okay, so that's going to be pretty much it for the Una task. I hope this helps with your progression and kind of understanding what to do within the game. But this is something that you want to do, especially on a main character. Make sure you do these daily quests because each character can do 3 per day. So if you do all 3 of your quests per day, you're going to be getting honor leap stones or whatever that leap stone is of your tier, whether it's tier 1 or tier 2, which are going to be your main chokehold on progression progressing your high level gear, because this is the thing that you run out of first. You run out of this, and then sometimes you run out of these shards or the little currency, but generally you have quite a bit of the blue and red crystals to upgrade your stuff, and the other materials come by not too shabby as well. The other thing to just really keep in mind is that the more you do these dailies, the better progress your character is going to be. So if you do have an alternate character and you want to do these honor leapstone dailies, you can eventually get them up into the next tier, which will give you a lot of value. And that's probably going to be the video that I make next, is just talking about alts, because I wish I started earlier than I did. I didn't know that alts were so powerful, right? But we'll save that for a topic for another day. But this should be everything you need to know about the dailies and the weeklies and how you use the gold currency for that. Thanks for the time and watching this video. Make sure to subscribe, like, and hit the bell button down below. We also have a Discord and Twitter in the social media. You can check that one out, and a join button if you're interested in becoming a member today. We will also have some more maybe Elden Ring content, Lost Ark content, New World content coming up here soon. So we're going to keep on top of everything that's like MMORPG or RPG related, so we'll try to be focusing on those, and in the future we'll be looking at some Blue Protocol and maybe some other cool things like that. Alright, thanks for your time and watching the video, and we will catch you in the next one.